Emily was ecstatic. She had finally found it, the perfect Victorian home nestled in a quaint, peaceful town. The moment she laid eyes on it, she knew this was where she was meant to be. The house seemed to call out to her, promising a fresh start and endless possibilities. The house stood majestically, its aged brick walls whispering tales of a rich, forgotten past. Each brick seemed to hold a story, each window a glimpse into history. The overgrown garden added to its charm, making it feel like a hidden gem waiting to be rediscovered. Sunbeams danced on the hardwood floors as she explored each room. The light created a warm, inviting atmosphere, making the house feel alive. Every corner held a new surprise, a new detail to fall in love with. There was a sense of serenity, a feeling of coming home. The rooms, though empty, felt full of potential and promise. It was as if the house itself was welcoming her, wrapping her in a comforting embrace. It was perfect, or so she thought. Emily quickly settled into her new abode, feeling a deep sense of contentment she hadn't felt in years. Emily quickly settled into her new abode. Days turned into weeks, each one filled with the joy of decorating and making the house her own. She painted the walls, arranged the furniture, and added personal touches that made the house uniquely hers. It was a labor of love, and she enjoyed every moment of it. The silence was comforting, a welcome change from the cacophony of city life. The quiet allowed her to think, to dream, and to find peace within herself. It was a sanctuary, a place where she could truly be herself. Little did she know, this tranquility was about to be shattered. Strange noises began to echo through the halls at night, and shadows seemed to move on their own. The once comforting silence now felt oppressive, filled with an unseen presence. A darkness lurked beneath the surface of her idyllic new life, a darkness that whispered. It was as if the house had secrets, secrets that were slowly coming to light. Emily realized that her new beginning might not be as perfect as it seemed. One evening, as Emily was curled up with a book, a sound pierced the silence. The room was dimly lit, casting long shadows on the walls, and the only noise was the soft rustle of pages turning. A whisper, barely audible, slithered into her ear. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The whisper was so faint, it was almost as if it was a figment of her imagination, yet it felt so real. She strained to hear, but there was nothing. Had she imagined it? The silence that followed was deafening, amplifying her fear. She glanced around the room, her eyes darting to every shadow, every corner. It's just the house settling, she muttered to herself, trying to rationalize the unsettling sound. Old houses were known for their creaks and groans, she reminded herself, but this felt different, more sinister. After all, old houses did make strange noises. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. The air felt thick, almost suffocating, as if the house itself was holding its breath. She picked her book back up, but the words swam before her eyes. Her mind was too preoccupied with the whisper, the eerie feeling that she was not alone. The silence was no longer comforting. It was heavy, pregnant with an unseen menace. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind outside seemed to carry a hidden threat, making her feel more vulnerable than ever. The whispers returned. Night after night they invaded the quiet of her home. They grew louder, more insistent, wrapping around her like icy fingers. They seemed to slither from the walls, from the shadows, whispering her name, taunting her with their unseen presence. Sleep became a distant memory. Emily tossed and turned in her bed, her mind racing. Fear, cold and sharp, clawed at her sanity. She tried to ignore the whispers, to block them out, but they were relentless. They were driving her to the brink of madness. Desperate, Emily confided in her friend Michael. He listened patiently, concern etched on his face. He, like Emily, initially dismissed the whispers as her imagination. However, the sheer terror in her eyes told him there was more to the story. Together, they decided to investigate. They spent hours researching the history of the house, scouring old documents and interviewing the townspeople. Whispers of tragic deaths, of restless spirits began to surface. The house, it seemed, had a dark past, one that was now bleeding into Emily's present. One night, as Michael and Emily huddled in the living room, armed with flashlights and determination, the whispers reached a fever pitch. The air grew heavy, thick with a palpable sense of dread. And then they saw it. A translucent figure, its features twisted in a silent scream, materialized at the end of the hallway. Its eyes, hollow and black, seemed to bore into Emily's soul. Terror, raw and consuming, paralyzed her. She wanted to scream, to run, but her body refused to obey. Michael, his face ashen, grabbed Emily's hand and pulled her towards the front door. They didn't stop running until they were far from the house, far from the whispers that seemed to follow them like shadows. Emily never returned to the Victorian house. She left behind all her belongings, choosing instead to start a new life, a life free from the whispers that haunted her waking hours. She found solace in the anonymity of the city, but the fear, the memory of the apparition, remained. Even now, years later, Emily can still hear the whispers in the quiet moments, in the stillness of the night. The memories of that time are etched deeply into her mind, surfacing when she least expects them. The nights are the hardest, when the world is silent and her thoughts are loud. They are fainter now, distant echoes of a terror she can never truly escape. The footsteps that once sent chills down her spine now linger as a haunting reminder of the past. Each creak of the floorboards, each rustle of the wind brings back the fear she thought she had left behind. The experience has left an indelible mark on her psyche, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of the ordinary. Her eyes dart around, always on the lookout for something that might not even be there. The fear is irrational, yet it feels so real, so present. The house stands empty, a silent testament to the horrors that unfolded within its walls. Its windows are like eyes staring out into the void, holding secrets that no one dares to uncover. The walls, once filled with laughter and life, now echo with the silence of abandonment. It is a place of whispers, of shadows, of an unseen menace that continues to haunt the dreams of those who dare to enter. The air is thick with a sense of foreboding, as if the house itself is alive, waiting for its next victim. The dread is palpable, a lingering presence that refuses to fade. Whispers. They are the language of secrets, of fears, of the unknown. They can be comforting, seductive, or utterly terrifying. They have the power to unnerve, to unsettle, to drive us to the brink of madness. Emily's story serves as a chilling reminder that some whispers are best left unheard, for they hold the power to shatter our sanity and leave us forever haunted. And in the quiet moments when the world is still, we might just hear them too, the whispers of the unknown reaching out from the darkness.